Now let me ask you something. Okay, I got a job. Thanks. You helped me a lot.
Okay.
Can you do anything for me after that as a coach?
Yeah, I can. I mean, sometimes people have to take intermediate jobs that, in other words, it isn't like we just set a goal and the goal is just one job. It may be a series of jobs or ways that I can help empower you to perform better on your current job or to see if this really is speaking to you in terms of your calling. Because a lot of times we really don't completely know about work until we're actually in it. I mean, we have some idea, but then we have to assess what is the situation and is it really fulfilling the goal that we said we were going to.
Right, you might get there and not realize this isn't for me.
Right, and then there's another part that I do is more leadership or executive coaching where you're helping managers deal with conflict, how to empower their employees, how to manage down and up.
Right.
And so there's a whole other branch of it, so you're not just focusing on the unemployed.
Okay, so there's a pre-job and even a post-job part of coaching.
Right.
And people may have a coach that works with them for years, perhaps, helping them to manage their career pathway and trajectory in the best possible way.
Yeah, in fact, that's why I call myself a career life coach, because there are a lot of people that have a horrible, or they get out of balance, let's put it this way, between they're successful in their career and they're failing in all the goals in their life. Now, these are not pathological problems, but it's more like you're just devoting so many hours, you're not achieving the goal of being a good husband or a good there for your kids. And so that's part of what I try to do is establish a balance between the career and the life and how it's impacting the rest of your life. So there are some things that can go on for months and months if the person so chooses.
Right, or even years and years.
Years, or they can leave and come back too, right? They might have a problem at a later time or be ready to move on.
Oh, it sounds like a great thing. I mean, I'd like to have something like that in my life.
Okay, I'll sign you up after the show.
After the show.
All right.
Now, I understand you brought along your 12 keys to getting a great job.
Yes.
And I thought we might put them up on the screen and go through them.
Sure.
So let's go through them one by one. All right, so the first one is create a marketing or job search plan and keep a job search log.
Right.
What's that about?
That's actually two different things, and it can be in the same file or it can be separate. If you approach job hunting the way I coach people to do it, which is to network as much as possible and to try to go with warm calls where you're going from one person to another and going to as many events as you possibly can, you're going to need to keep track of who you contacted when, how you know this person, because at first it's a couple degrees of separation, but now you're closing it down and you want to know what you've done. You don't want hot leads to slip through the cracks. So that's the log part. The marketing plan part is to try to set up, just like you're marketing a product, but now you're marketing yourself. What is the solution you provide? What is the pain that you relieve in somebody else's life? What can you do for a potential employer? And that marketing plan can be something you talk to when you informational interview, say, hey, what do you think of my marketing plan? What do you think of the niche I'm going after? And then you solidify it, and then you go after it. So that can be part of the same document, or it can be a separate.
I see. So it's actually two pieces.
It's really two pieces.
Okay.
One is like a table in Excel or Word that says,
what am I doing? Who have
name,
I talked to?
when did I contact them? When to follow up? Are they a hot lead? And the other one is more a statement of the niche you're going after and the solution you provide.
Okay, that makes perfect sense. Now, another thing you talk about is to network and informational interview your way to what you call the hidden job market. I'm very curious about that. Where are all these jobs hiding? Well, underneath here? Or?
Yeah, actually, there's two of them right under your chair.
Oh, good.
No, it's what it is basically is the statistics tell us that something like 75 to 80% of the jobs people get is through networking and through who they know. So I say spend that much amount of time in your job hunt networking rather than doing the reverse, because a lot of people just do things behind computers because it's a little easier, but that is a low probability event. When you network like this, you're networking not so much to ask the person for a job, but for information. Where should I go next? Who else should I talk to? Should I revise my pitch and all this stuff? And in the meantime, you're selling yourself to these people. Sure, you're asking questions, but you're saying, here's the problem I think I solve with do you think that's a good marketing way to market myself? Well, all the time they're hearing skills, answer, confidence, maybe not at the beginning of the networking, but after you're somewhat deep in it. And you're going to hear about positions before they're actually in some cases, not always, in some cases before they ever hit a job board. So you're being proactive, and I call it more the emerging job market. The standard term in coaching is the hidden job market. In other words, underwater. People don't know completely about it. And then it'll eventually appear, but you want to be the one that's already known with your resume on the top, and maybe it never gets to the job board.
Okay.
So those people never knew that it occurred.
So it's a strategy to find those jobs before they really get to being advertised and things like that.
Or at the very least that you already know the hiring manager and your resume's on top, even if they have to, for government regulations, open it up.
Right. Sounds great. Sounds great. Now, another thing you talk about is attending job hunting or alumni functions, professional associations. How does that help?
Well, it helps because at least professional associations, at least a certain percentage of those people are employed. And you go to the event, you sit around a table and you schmooze and you exchange cards and all this, and there's all of a sudden you've met, if say you're trying to get into accounting, you've met a bunch of accountants and you've got their cards and you say, do you have like 15 minutes that I could call you tomorrow and talk about it? So you get known, and again, you present yourself in a way that you say, I think I can solve this kind of problem. Does that make sense to you? Who should I talk to about it?
Okay, so it's another way of getting yourself exposure
Right,
to all
and the
these
same thing with
decision
alumni.
makers.
A lot of alumni associations have graduates that are willing to talk to you just because you're a Hoosier or a Husky or a Cardinal or whatever it is, and they're in the professions and they're willing to talk to you.
Okay.
Who wouldn't talk to a Husky?
Sure. I assume you're a Husky.
No, you went to University of Washington.
I'm a Husky.
You're a Husky. I'm not a Husky.
All right. So, and I would imagine when you say join or form a success team, that's a similar concept?
Success team is actually a relatively new concept, but it's a great idea. What you do is you get a buddy or a couple of people that are willing to meet on a weekly basis. And they have different chemistry depending on the people, but usually what you do is you go around the table and each person says, this is what I did last week in my job hunting. I need some input on this. This is what I'm doing next week. And by the way, here are a few leads for you guys. And then people, they go around the table and do that. Well, that's a little bit of accountability, right? Because you said, what my plan is for next week is I'm going to talk to these 5 people and do this. The next week, you report how it went. And sometimes you can even go to the group and say, look, guys, or gals, whoever's there, I'm overwhelmed.
Right.
Please, just tell me, this is really difficult, right? Yeah.
Okay, so
these could be friends, or they can be people you don't know. They can be in the same field, they can be in different fields.
Right, so it's almost like group therapy for helping get support from other people that are going through the same thing.
It is, except it's still like coaching, it's goal-oriented. So it doesn't, there are sometimes rules that you don't dump on the group where you don't come each time and say, I'm stuck.
Right.
There's a drive to say, this is the goal.
So it's a problem-solving focus.
Yeah, and there is, you can on occasion use it for support, and sometimes you build side friendships with people.
Yeah, okay. Now, you talk about, I'm going to jump forward a little bit, you talk about maximizing planned happenstance. What is planned happenstance?
Oh yeah, that's a hard one to discuss. They'll have to go to the website to completely get, I have a whole article on this,
okay.
But it's basically an approach where you create options and opportunities for yourself. Planned happenstance involves taking the attitude of optimism, flexibility, curiosity, persistence, and what you do is you plan to do a few more networking or social things or talking to people, things that you might on some level think, that's not going to do anything, but I'm going to put myself in that position and see what happens. If I meet an interesting person, I'm going to ask them for some time to do an informational interview with them. If there's a networking event, I'm going to try it out and just see what happens. So the planned part is that you are thinking, you're pushing yourself to do a few more things that you don't know what the probability is going to be, that it's going to work out. The happenstance is you don't really know quite what's going to happen. So it's a little bit like generating your own good luck by generating more opportunities.
I see. So it's like testing out different ideas.
Trying things on.
Even things that you might not think would be effective.
Right, and that's similar to trying to find your calling or making a career change. You take a little course, maybe a 6-week course. You read a book, you talk to somebody in the field. You're trying it out before you make a full commitment, and you're seeing what opportunities open. You're staying open, you're staying optimistic, you're staying curious.
Okay, that's great. I like that.